Come on! Get your motor running, head out on the highway, looking for adventure, and whatever comes our way. Hey, yeah, driving gonna make it happen. Take the world in a lemon race, fire all of your guns at once and explode into space like a true nature's child. We were born to be wild. We can climb so high, never wanna die. Born to be wild. Born to be wild. 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, welcome back to Full Throttle TV and the Blackwater Products USA Truck Series. Tonight we go road racing. We're at Watkins Glen. We got 125 kilometers, 38 laps. Gonna be a thrilling race to be sure out here. I'm Dean Doucette. In the booth with me, Mr. Brad Patterson. Brad, a little bit of road racing tonight.
Going up and down the hills here. It's going to be a little bit of a different thing that we get tonight. We're going to have some guys come to the front, you know, some of the guys that we consider to be our road course aces, going to be able to strut their stuff, but at the same time, some guys, you know, they put in a lot of effort at trying to get better at these tracks, so it might be a little bit of a different story than what we've seen throughout the series so far.
Yeah, it's been an interesting evolution. Of course, Jared Carr been out here. He's been doing great on the road course. But like you said, some other guys out there putting in some time, putting some practice. Wouldn't be surprised if we see a little more of a battle up front tonight. Let's get a look in on our race info. You see there, 89 degrees outside. Let's see if we can see the track temp. 109, pretty slick out there tonight. Keys to the race, track position, always big in road racing. Qualifying of Paramount, that's going on as we speak. Passing, of course, going to be at a premium tonight. It always is on the road. And pit strategy, Brad, when we look at pit strategy, there is something to say for it in road racing. I mean, you got the short pit, you got the long pit, you know, whether you have to get that tank full of gas or not. There's a lot that can be done on pit road.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, pit road can definitely gain you a couple of seconds, you know. On a road course like this, you can really gain a second or two a lap, you know, just like we see on the bigger tracks, if you will. But more importantly, is coming out and clean traffic. I mean, you know, you pit a lap early, you come out and clean traffic ahead of you. You know, it's tremendous versus, you know, pitting a little bit later and coming out and being marred in the traffic. So it's going to be one of those things we're going to have to look at. Also, I can't remember 100%, Dean. You're going to have to kind of help me on this one, whether or not we're going to see one of those mandatory cautions at halfway during this race that I know we were talking about them in the road course. I don't know if they ever actually implemented that.
Yeah, it's an interesting point, and you say I have to. Well, I don't have to. No, I just don't know for certain on that one, Brad. But I think they will. I didn't hear any word that they won't. So look for that. That's a great point, an interesting point when it comes to pit strategy in particular. So we'll keep an eye out for that action. Now let's get a quick look in on our championship results. Or standings, I should say. Of course, Bobby Terrell on top of the board, winning several races so far this season. Bernard Person now up into second place. Carr moving back up, looking for a big night tonight as well. He's in third. Claude Ferland, early points leader, only a point behind Carr. He's in fourth place. Dale Nearrad now in fifth. You got Joly, McDaniel, Allen, Coy, and Torgensen there in the top 10. And as we look through the rest of them here, Of course, you got if you have a win, you'll be marked in green, and you've got to be in the top 25. So right now, you got a couple of guys, Brad, who are in there, but they've got to keep up this work and keep up, getting decent finishes. Like a guy like Cooper Jr. not here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. When the road course comes, some guys all of a sudden don't show up, and we see that time after time where guys that they're just not comfortable, so they take this as a little bit of a breathing section, if you will, going through the series. But at the same time, you have somebody like you talked about with Jared Carr, currently up in that third position. Last week he was able to jump in front of Claude Ferland. Ferland last week not able to make the race. This week Ferland's going to be here tonight. He's going to definitely try to be able to get back by around Jared Carr. Both of those guys, I would simply think that they're solid inside the points needed to be able to make it into the playoffs here tonight. But road course is always one of those things. It's kind of hit or be hit, and some guys show up and some guys just take the night off, if you will.
Yeah, it is definitely hit or miss out there. We look in right now on Mannix Richet. He has not scored a time yet as qualifying winding down here. Usually 10 minutes here at the road courses.
Yeah, qualifying definitely going to take a little bit longer at these road courses generally, just for the simple fact that a regular lap, if you will, under qualifying, you're going to be about a minute 15, minute 14, anywhere from minute 14 to probably about a minute 17 with these guys. Then you got to figure in, you get a warm-up lap and whatnot, so you can burn away 5 minutes very easily. So, 10-minute here. Then you're going to get the 5-minute warm up, and it's going to be a very interesting night. One thing that I'm definitely seeing is times are a lot closer than we've seen throughout the rest of the season, especially on a track here like Watkins Glen, one of the more tracks that even the guys that aren't road course guys, they've ran at this track. So this could lend itself to be a much more closely competitive track.
Absolutely, it could. And, you've got guys like Bernard Person, currently 8th on the board. He won a recent event in the Cup Series, so maybe a couple of these guys not at that event, but nonetheless, Bernard Person, a known oval racer, up there winning that. Very impressive. Lane Allen up here, newcomer Chris Stouffer towards the top of the board. So very interesting. Could have some shakeups out there. But right now, let's take a short commercial break. We come back, we'll set your starting lineup.
coming up to the line, being chased, and it was Braden Johnson.
Unbelievable finish.
It was 1/1000th of a second between them.
Green flag in the air. We are racing in the 2020 24 Hours of Daytona.
They go door to door for the feature race lead here on the last lap of the race. Side by side for the race lead in the final corner at Homestead.
Down the back straightaway, 3 wide again for the race lead. This is unbelievable stuff here tonight.
Loba is going to have to be very deep on the brakes, and he is very deep on the brakes. It's side by side through the corner. This is for the win.
It'll be side by side. Davies low, Ottinger high. To the very inside is Garrett Lowe. 4 wide at the stripe. For all he's with here on this outside line, neck and neck. Who's going to back out? Does anyone back out? Verstappen starts to squeeze on the inside, and now he'll try and straight line it. Goes under the apron, drag race to the line. It's so close to call. It starts right here and right now. Let's go racing from Daytona. All-Star race. Novak will squeeze on the outside, and for the first time, Zach Novak is the NASCAR iRacing Series champion. Look at this, 3 wide for the race lead into turn 1 in Indianapolis.
All right, welcome back here to Full Throttle TV and the Blackwater Products USA Truck Series live from Watkins Glen International Speedway. These guys out here doing a couple more warm-up laps, almost 2 minutes here to grid up. And Brad, I mean, I don't know what more we can talk about with this road, but I mean, I want to talk about some long shots here. You know, who you got? Who are your picks out here for a potential dark horse?
Oh man, I think the easiest one, if you will, and it's kind of a give me for a dark horse is going to be that 13. That's going to be Christopher, one of the new guys here. Actually, I don't know if I can really count him as a dark horse because we really just don't know enough about him. But you know, he's one of those guys that's currently right now putting in some pretty good lap times. You know, consistently in the top 5 as far as fast laps. But then you also got to put in somebody like Claude Ferland. But can you really call Claude Ferland a dark horse at this point? I mean, he's done so good this entire season. We haven't really seen him shine on the road courses, but, I can't really call him a dark horse.
No, very tough to call him a dark horse, but you're right. Road coursing, I mean, not known for that. Let's look in on a guy, Richie Coy, who's been awful good on road. I don't know if he's got any victories on road yet, but he might be overdue for one, Brad.
Yeah, I think... I'm not sure he has any in the truck series here, but I think he's parlayed the road course to a little bit of success, if I remember correctly, at Daytona earlier this season in the Cup car. So Rich Coy, no stranger to road course racing at all. And he's going to be one of those guys that himself, Joe Flanagan, both of those gentlemen been on a tear lately and really been at the front of the fields.
Yeah, Pepto Joe out here in the 53, always a threat on road, and he's looking particularly racy tonight in practice time. He was up towards the top of the board. I believe he might have qualified in second. We'll find out here in just a few seconds.
Another one of those guys to kind of look out for is that 14, Lane Allen. Lane Allen been doing extremely well here tonight, putting in some good lap times. Generally not necessarily known for his road course savvy, but definitely putting in the time and doing everything he can to put it towards the front. So there's a lot of people here that have a genuine shot during this road course here. Watkins Glen, traditional road course, something that's been on the Cup Series and a traditional series, if you will. So a lot of guys know the track, and that's more than anything, just being familiar with the track on a road course.
It really is. Right now, as they grid up, we ask everybody to rise out of your seats, take your hats off, and enjoy the singing of the national anthem by Alicia Shipman.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the lands of the free and the home of the brave?
All right. All set to go racing. Here's a quick look in on our grid. Jared Carr on the pole, Flanagan on the outside of row number 1, Coy and Solari, Stouffer and Allen, Ferland Person, Politsky and Joly, and you can see the rest of the starting order there as we're almost set to go racing, Brad.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, while we were away, you know, we got a little bit of talk with the admin there, and the admin solidified that there will not be that halfway caution that they tried earlier in the season. That was a experiment, if you will, that didn't quite work out, so that will not be happening tonight. So when we go green, we have the possibility of green flag till the end here tonight without any cautions possibly.
All right, good news there, or whatever, good reporting there, Brad. Well, I like to see it go green, and it's going to be highly interesting to see that pit strategy come into play here right now. Carr is going to lead Joe Flanagan down to the start finish. Coy and Solari going to chase him down. Could be mayhem down here in 1. Always dangerous. Going to be exciting to see what happens. Pace car rolls off. Carr leads him to the line. Really good start on the outside by Flanagan, but Carr is still pulling away slightly here.
Yeah, the biggest thing is these guys don't get any wheel hop going into turn 1. It looks like everybody's going to make it through safe for the most part. A couple of cars far back in the field going to have a little bit of trouble. Carr is going to be able to establish dominance right off the bat. Flanagan right behind him as we go through the S's.
Yeah, Carr going to jump out to a little gap there. That's going to give him a certain comfort level. Coy in second. Flanagan falls to third. Stouffer hangs on to, or gains up to 4th, and Solari falls to 5th. The rest pretty much status quo. Allen, Ferland, Person, Politsky, and Joly. Pretty uneventful start. That's what they like to see here, Brad. It's very difficult getting down into 1, and these guys look like they did the appropriate thing and took some extra care down there.
Yeah, absolutely. They did. You know, coming into that first corner, you know, cold brakes, cold tires. You want to make sure you're going to be able to make it through it. Right now, it's all Jared Carr up front with Joe Flanagan. He's going to be continuing to be right there behind him. He's going to actually start to put himself a little bit of gap on the 19 of Richie Coy there. Maybe be able to try to get back to Jared Carr a little bit, as right now the gap's about 0.8 of a second.
Yeah, Coy hanging in there, but Carr so good on the road courses. He's going to be incredibly difficult.
Yeah, it really is, and that's one of the things with the road courses. It's all about hitting your marks. It's all about using the the brakes and getting on and off, and really be able to set the car up and get that car to really rotate through the corner. Right now, we're seeing it right now. Jared Carr up front right now. Richie Coy right behind him. Joe Flanagan, Chris Stouffer, Tony Solari. Then we get back into the pack where these guys are really starting to kind of heat it up just a little bit.
Yeah, we see Solari up here challenging Stouffer a little bit. Behind them, Allen, Ferland, Person, Politsky, and you got Joly kind of peeking down there a little bit, but Politsky's not going to allow that to happen through there. It's very hard to pass here. One of our keys to the race, Brad, and just talk about really, there's the lack of passing opportunities here. There's only a couple of spots where you legitimately can make a move on someone.
Yeah, it's really difficult. I mean, you're going to pass it or either a braking zone or just really be able to get back out of the corner underneath somebody and really be able to carry your momentum through it. You don't want to set up on the outside of especially some of the corners like the S's or something like that. So the big thing is really the passing is going to start in about 5 laps, really. When the tires start wearing out is when you're going to see the drivers really start to come to the field. Right now everybody's kind of on the same rubber. Everything kind of handles very well. As we go on, though, that's when the trucks are going to get slick. That's when guys are going to make mistakes, miss braking points and everything like that. And that's really when you're going to be able to make your way through the field. But a track like Watkins Glen here, where everybody's somewhat familiar with it because it's not a road course that you don't find on the circuit. This is going to be one of those more tightly lipped tracks.
Yeah, it really is. And we're already seeing right here, it's pretty much status quo out there. The interesting part here is going to be fuel mileage, Brad. We're looking at 25, 27 laps, somewhere in that neighborhood. And these guys are going to have decisions to make. I mean, halfway's at 19. What do you prefer to do in a race like this? And does your position on the track kind of influence your decision?
I think it really does because, we talked about it earlier before the race started, is coming out in the middle of traffic. I mean, if you're up front, you pit early, you do have the possibility of coming right out in the middle of traffic, but at the same time, you pit late, you could be dealing with lap traffic. I mean, you're talking about 27 laps into a 38-lap race. You could be catching lap traffic at that point. I think if you're somebody like a Richie Coy, Joe Flanagan, Stouffer, it all depends on how far a car is able to get away from you. If you're able to maintain a 1-2 second advantage or disadvantage, if you will, coming in a lap early is going to be where you want. But at the same time, if you're in the back of the field, you might want to pit the moment that pit sequence is available to you, depending on how much we give up as far as tires.
Yeah, well, that's a really good point. The pit sequence would actually open up somewhere around lap 11. So if someone really wants to make a move, that's when you make it. Lap 11, lap 15, something like that, instead of waiting for that halfway marker. I think someone could make up the big gains if they do that. Right now, we ride on board with the Andrew Politsky as he's stalking Bernard Person here.
That's a good battle right there. You got Politsky right behind him. You're going to have that 08 of Sylvan Joly. All of these guys, you see Politsky being able to pull right up on the back of the 08 and right through this section here with the S's. You see that really the different lines for the different drivers. Just, one guy will be about 2 foot, a little bit further over, and that's just a matter of comfort. Going through those S's, one of those guys, when they shift, getting through it and everything. I mean, there's so many little details when it comes to road course that it really makes the difference.
We'll talk a little bit too, Brad, about how difficult it is. We jumped back to Joly here, but we've seen him drop off a little bit, kind of bleeding that throttle. But the point I wanted to make was more about Politsky. When he was right up on top of Bernard Person, it is so difficult to stay in it and find your marks. You can't see much.
No, absolutely you can't. I mean, once you get on the back of somebody, you really got to be able to make that effort pay off for you. You really hope that the guy in front of you is just sit there and he knows that you're faster and he's going to kind of allow you to get by him, because you really can't. You can't see that corner. You can't see the mark. And one thing that anybody who does road coursing knows, you got to be able to see your way, not necessarily in the corner that you're at, but the corner that you need to get to. And you can't do that when there's a truck in your way.
No, No, you cannot. Looks like we had a little incident with TJ Bartell. I don't think anything major, but let's get a look in on it. See what happened to TJ. Get the 40 here, coming through this little bus stop area. Oh, and in front of him, it's the 3 of Adam Newton, who goes around. TJ through the grass, stays off the wall, locks him up. A great job by the 40, not touching anything. Gets that thing pointed right, but it's that 3 car of Adam Newton who struggling along there.
Yeah, and actually right there in front of the 40 currently of TJ Bartell, that's going to be that 29 of John Held. The whole right side of that truck definitely has a little bit of damage on it. So he obviously had a little bit of a problem earlier on in the race here today. And that's one of those things that ultimately it's really going to, set the tone here. If you get off in a road course like that, you're going to have that caution, if you will, localized caution, not necessarily a full course caution. So, you can really put yourself in a bad situation by getting into a little bit of trouble, because the caution's not going to come out and allow you just to catch back up. You're just going to lose time.
Yeah, you absolutely are. You see there our leader and the gaps between our first 4, looking in on Chris Stouffer in the number 13. Doing a nice job here in 4th place.
Yeah, Stouffer doing a great job, newcomer to us at least. Seems like he's really doing what he needs to do. But right up front, Richie Coy, I've been kind of watching this battle, and Jared Carr was able to step it out a little bit over 2.5 seconds on Richie Coy. Richie Coy's been able to kind of pull that back to about a 1.7 seconds. So maybe, with a road course, if you will, 2 corners can really be a half a second at any given time, overdoing it. And that's one of the biggest things. The difference between a road course and a traditional oval, if you will, you don't lose those tenths of a second. You can lose half a second by overdoing a corner.
We're looking at Flanagan versus Coy right here. And Flanagan was gaining on Coy. We look in the sectors. He gained a touch in sector 1, a lot in sector 2, lost a little bit in sector 3. Let's go up 1 to where Carr is, and Carr you can see gaining across all 3 sectors there, but sector 2 is really where he's dominant.
Yeah, absolutely. That particular lap right there saw Jared Carr actually gain an entire second on Richie Coy. Richie Coy made up about a half second the lap before, but then gained a second that last lap. So obviously one of the situations where Richie Coy has to figure out a little bit of different strategy as far as making his way. And you can see it right there, if you're on board, or not on board, but following Richie Coy through that section there, he's a little bit wide, where Joe Flanagan was able to put it right down to the bottom of the track and be able to really get around that corner a little bit better. And it's going to be one of those things where, I talked about it earlier, this is where we're going to start seeing those difference in cars. The guys, you see the cars starting to slide around, you see them losing grip, and that's when you got to kind of throw the car around and just know what you're doing as far as driving it.
Yeah, it's absolutely correct. Right here we look in, it looks like Coy faster in sector 1 and 3 than Flanagan. Flanagan slightly faster in sector 2. Very interesting, the dynamics of the different sectors. It doesn't seem like you can nail down all 3, Brad. You kind of have to pick your poison with these setups and where you can be fast and where you have to give a little.
Well, it's a lot about discipline. Road course racing is all discipline. If you're not going to be the fastest in a particular section, you just got to be able to essentially make sure that you make the least amount of mistakes. Because if your opponents are going to make more mistakes than you, that's all you need to do is limit yours. And that's what we're seeing right now with the 57 of Jared Carr. Jared Carr's out front. He's running good lap times, very consistent lap times, and ultimately just making the least amount of mistakes. We saw a season ago, 2 seasons ago, where Jared Carr would do this exact same thing. Get out, great lead, fastest truck on the course, but he would overdrive the track. He would overdrive his truck, make a mistake, and ultimately cost himself the victory. That is something that Jared Carr's worked on. He's been able to really get himself to the point where he's not making those mistakes and not overdriving the truck. So it's going to be very difficult to get around that 57.
Oh, it's going to be incredibly difficult. I mean, he's fallen back 4 seconds already. We look back in on Stouffer, and there's Lane Allen in the 14, sitting in 6th place here. Pretty quiet so far from the 14. He's having a nice run here. Talked to him earlier. Says he's got a top 5 car. He's always very humble and modest. I think he might have a little something for him here. We'll see if he can persevere on the long run, Brad.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, Lane is one of those drivers that he's not even going to try to race you right now. He's just trying to make sure he completes the race, if you will. You know, we see him get off track just a little bit there, a little right side off into the grass there, but he's going to sit there and his main goal, and a lot of these guys, is to complete all the laps. And that's one thing that you got to worry about. You know, Jared Carr's goal is to win the race. Some of these guys from probably, 10th on back is to finish the race.
Absolutely correct. You got Claude Ferland back here in 7th place. Nice start for him. He's got nice piece of track here. All alone, he can ride around. He's going to be comfortable with this spot, I think, and just look to keep it clean. You got Politsky up 1 spot into 8th. He's gotten around Bernard Person struggling perhaps with some of those arm issues that he has. Very tough on the road courses for the 8 car, and he's got the ever dangerous Bobby Terrell and Sylvain Joly right behind him.
Absolutely. Kind of looking at the lap times there, that last lap, Jared Carr with a 1:15.7, Richie Coy 1:15.5, Flanagan at 1:15.5. Then you got to the 11 of Tony Slayer with a 1:15.9. I think what you're seeing right now is a maturity, if you will, up, if you said with Jared Carr, knowing, hey, I've got a 3.5 second lead. I don't have to be the fastest truck every single lap. I can take it a little bit easy, make sure I'm within my comfort zone. I don't have to, put my truck in risk or anything like that, which is something we didn't see a couple of years ago. And, it's one of those things, it's easy to say that the leader just doing everything he has, but in all reality, we have to give credit where credit is due. He understood where his faults were, and he's really made gains on those, and that's what's made him such a great road course driver here in this series.
Well, he really has. And if you talk about that, so he's won a couple of road races now, and he's got comfort. If you remember last season or whatever, the road race, we'd see him go off track once in a while, and not seeing that out of him. He's had a lot to do with winning, and what does that do for a guy like, say, a Richie Coy in 2nd or Joe Flanagan in 3rd? Are these guys going to overextend? Are they going to try and push a little too hard and have to learn some of those lessons that Jared Carr learned?
It's very possible. I mean, at the end of the day, everybody's going to be extremely competitive, but at the same time, as this league continues to grow, we're about 4 seconds up. Jared Carr over Richie Coy to Flanagan, only about a second. That's where the race, I think, it really is going to be dictated. Does Flanagan push it a little too hard to get to Coy? I don't think Coy is going to be able to get to Carr. I think Coy has to be worried about strategy, if you will. If he wants to beat Carr, it's going to be strategy. He's already lost 4 seconds in 12 laps. We're at 38 lap. So on that pace, you can be, 12 seconds back. So you got to make that up strategy-wise. He's obviously not going to make it up on the track right now, with the exception of, a mistake from Jared Carr. And he's not infallible. He can definitely do that. But Flanagan is the one that I'm worried about. Is he going to overextend himself trying to get to 2nd? And that's usually where you see that mistake happen.
Yeah, I mean, he talked about a couple of things there, of course, mistakes and that, but also, strategy. And right now, the pit window is open. Now, we've seen time and time again, nobody willing to risk it. I mean, I like to say, why not? And another thing I like to bring up is some of our big movers. Steven Vrooman up here in 16th place. He's gained 2 spots. Zach McDaniel in the 42, currently up 5 spots on the night, Brad.
Yeah, another great run for them, and that's one of those deals where he had a horrible qualifying run, if you will. He was running probably mid to 8th to 12th. Didn't have the qualifying run he has, and that's one of those things that with the road course you get off just a little bit, and that qualifying lap is not going to be able to sustain. So did not get a qualifying lap. So one of those drivers that he's slowly making his way through the field. Torgensen's right there with him. Torgensen actually, surprisingly, that 98 of Troy Torgensen, we've seen him dominate on some of these racetracks, not really being able to do anything. Started 15th, currently still 15th.
We look in on Troy Torgensen here, and you're right, part of that GT Performance Sim Sport. 98, been very, very good this season, but just stuck here in 15th. And you know, a lot of it is that just he might be content to just ride here and wait out these pit stops and see what happens. But decent run for him tonight. Right in front of him, you got Brian Helm. Brian Helm, the reigning champ here. I believe he won last week, if I'm not mistaken, Brad. The 26 here, hanging around in 14th place.
Yeah, and you know, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about. Some guys come here to win, and some guys come in knowing that they can compete for a win. Other guys come in just saying, you know, hey, we just have to survive it. You know, one of those situations where guys go into like a Daytona or a Talladega, generally we reserve that for plate tracks. You know, you just have to make it through the race, and if you can make it through the race, you might even be in a top 10 or something like that. On a road course, you know, guys in 15th, 16th place, you know, they're going to race their heart out. They're going to be tired. They're going to be sweaty at the end of this, right, left, everything like that. And they're going to feel an accomplishment of just making it to lap 38.
Absolutely, they will. We look ahead of him. There's Kevin Rupert. Rupert in the one. He's got some traffic here. He's got Nearad and Person right in front of him. Person struggling a little bit down 3 spots.
Yeah, that's one of those things, you know, you either feel it or you don't. As these trucks get a little bit of wear and tear on the tires, if you will, they start sliding around. And for me, we always got about halfway during the race, and the trucks were just slipping and sliding, and I loved it. It was like, I wish we could always start the race over again, because it was like, I finally got a feel for the racetrack. You know, my tires are worn out, they're shot, but I always felt like I did better once the tires got a little bit old, because when everybody has grip, it just doesn't matter. But right now, I think we're starting to see that with somebody like the likes of Bernard Person right now, with Dale Nearad starting to get all over the back of them. You know, in front of them, you're going to have Bobby Terrell, Sylvan Joly. So we're going to have a little bit of battle here for the next few laps.
Yeah, we really will. There's no doubt about that. There's Person. Look ahead. There's Joly. You got Bobby Terrell up 2 spots now into 9th position. And Bobby was behind Bernard Person just a couple laps ago. I imagine Joly as well. So he is moving forward. He's got some clear track. Let's look in and see what his last lap time is. So 1:16.8. We'll see what he is at the line with some clear track. And 1:16.9, so very consistent from the 4 car, but our leader, Jared Carr, out there laying down the laps at 1:16.2. Coy, a little bit faster last lap.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Jared Carr, you got a 5-second lead. You don't really care if Richie Coy's a little bit faster that time. What you want to do is make sure you maintain it. Wow, I'm looking back in the field. Sorry, I'm looking back at that 03 of Dale Nearad. You know, we were talking about him, and Kevin Rupert got right up to the back of him, and he just turned to the left. He completely let Rupert by on that one. Coming out of one right there, the back end of that race truck completely sideways. So this is one of those trucks that is definitely going to be looking for a fresh set of tires soon. And if I was him, you know, hey, you got nothing to lose. Lap 16, you're currently in the 12th position. Go on in there, man. Get those tires. Do something a little bit different, you know. Roll the dice, if you will.
Absolutely. We look in on the one of Rupert still. Looks like Person looking to get out of the way. Really can't find a spot to get out of the way. Very tough around Watkins to give space. He's going to get on by. Nearad in behind. But let's go look in that replay of what you were talking about. Rupert past Dale Nearad. So here we go. The one coming in down last corner. 03 up in front of him. Not doing too bad. He just pulls over on the straightaway and lets him go. He doesn't want anything to do with him. Very interesting there. Like you said, fighting a loose car. He's just going to let him have it.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those differences between the road course and you know, the ovals. You know, you get these guys that are predominantly an oval racer. You know, they understand, they know how to work a loose race truck on an oval, they're not necessarily going to just roll over and let you out of the way. Here, they're so worried about just making it to the end, they're going to sit there and say, you know, it's not worth it. I can end up 25th on the night, or I can just let you go.
The guy I want to highlight a bit is Rupert out here. I mean, we talked a little bit about him here, but Kevin Rupert in the number 1 out of Nashville, part of Gladiators of Racing, and part of that Snap, Crackle, and Pop group running those Kellogg's paints. And, you know, he's been very good out here tonight, and he keeps improving, and he's in. I love it. Rupert is into the pits, first guy in that I've seen. I love the call.
Absolutely, I like it. I mean, I think net gain 5 positions. In my opinion, he's going to gain 5 positions from it. But at the same time, we're coming to lap 18, so we are at that magic lap, if you will, where I think a lot of guys are going to go in, and Rupert overshoots his pit, has to back it back into it. Going to lose a little bit of time there. I don't think it's anything that's going to kill him as far as the end of this race by any stretch, though.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, he came in around 12th position, I think. So we'll see how he shakes out after all these pit stops are done. But, you know, I'm with you. I think he'll have a net gain. I love the call. And we're seeing others coming in, following his lead. Richie Coy coming in. Joe Flanagan also.
Dean, I don't want to kind of cut you off here. I'm looking at our leader, the 57. The whole right side of that car, you can't even make out the numbers. What happened to our leader? We must have missed something. Maybe got a little bit into the wire, into the tire barriers or the wall.
Trying to get a look into it. We're looking on the left side right now, not seeing much, but the right side, we'll have a peek at that right shortly coming out of this corner. And yeah, you can see some scrapes there, so some damage on our race leader. This could be interesting. When you got Coy and Flanagan on pit road, they come out nose to tail, same position they were at.
And we talked about it earlier, you know, sometimes, you know, having the dominant car, you know, fastest car going around the track, if you will, no pun intended, you can be your worst enemy, you know, just trying to make sure that you hit the same lap time every time, even with a big lead like that. So it's going to be interesting. It looks like Jared Carr's actually going to come to pit road this time. He's going to have service to his crew right now.
All right, so the leader is coming into pit road. Jared Carr down in front of him. I believe that's John Held coming in as well, as we got the pit board up. Solari is in. Allen's in. Stouffer's in, as they all start to come down now. And this is what I was talking about. It kind of, the opening for the short pit probably closed here. The only guy who got it was Rupert. We'll see how he shakes out. There's Ferland and Politsky coming in as well.
Yeah, the problem is, though, is, you know, Richie Coy, he was in heavy traffic right there dealing with Brian Helm. Brian Helm off into the grass, if you will. Richie Coy just now getting to right now about to the start-finish line. He's going to have the 53 of Flanagan behind him, but he's in heavy traffic right now.
So Coy and Flanagan are out. What's going on with Carr? He's still on pit road. What has happened to Jared Carr?
Could be a situation where a speeding penalty or maybe fixing the damage. I got to think that this is a situation where he probably got a penalty coming to pit road a little bit too fast, possibly. Maybe a little frustration from that damage.
This seems like more than a little penalty. He has dropped to 14th place. He's finally down and away. That's definitely some kind of penalty, and oh boy, was it. And we're going to see now what Jared Carr can do and what kind of patience he has, because this is an incredibly tough track to pass at. Right now, your race leader, Sylvain Joly, still yet to pit. You got Coy and Flanagan who have pitted, and then Neerad and Helm have not. Lane Allen in 6th, Stouffer in 7th, McDaniel, Ferland, and Solari, your top 10.
Absolutely. And this is one of those tracks, unfortunately, being fast is everything, but being smooth and just being consistent and patient does more than anything right now. As it looks like the 57, it looks a little bit better on that right side, you know, not nearly the amount of damage anymore. You can see the numbers on the right side of the truck completely clear now, so maybe it's a situation where he was just getting the damage fixed.
It could be. It seems like an extreme amount of time to sit there.
Oh,
but
the one in the 57 right now, Rupert, He also tags the 8 of Bernard Person.
My goodness, what has happened out here? The 57 coming back down pit road. Ballard going to follow him in. Unbelievable.
That all happened with the 1 of Kevin Rupert.
Let's get a look in on it. This is big. This is what happens when you make a mistake on pit road or elsewhere. You get back in traffic. Here's the 1 right here. He just loops it around. Jared Carr behind. And oh, he can't avoid him. And neither can Person. Wow. Drama on the track here at Watkins Glen. Shaking everything up. Joly is coming into pit road. That's going to hand over the lead to Richie Coy. He's being chased by Pepto Joe Flanagan in the 53. What an exciting turn of events. Tragedy for some, exhilaration for others.
Absolutely, exactly what Richie Coy needed. He's in the catbird seat about right there behind him. That's going to be Joe Flanagan. Just a little bit over a second. We've seen these guys not really be able to get away from each other. Not too far back, you're going to have Lane Allen. Lane Allen about 7 seconds back, doing very good. Silver and Joly right behind him. But right now, the man of the hour is going to be that 19 of Richie Coy. We've seen Coy up front before, being able to dominate in some of these. The question is, I don't want to say it, but will the internet hold up? We've seen that throughout this series. Richie Coy having great runs and then all of a sudden not being able to make it to the end due to unforeseen circumstances.
Well, add another possible problem to the list of things that could happen on a road course, but let's assume it all shakes out fine for the 19. Now, his eyes have got to be big, Brad. He's got victory in his grasp here, and same with Flanagan. I mean, Flanagan might have been content to run third, but is he content to run second?
Yeah, I don't think Flanagan's going to quit. I mean, he's got to really give it all he can. What I can report, though, is the 57 Jared Carr. We saw him come to pit road. He has not left pit road. I got to think that was going to be an early departure and a retirement for Jared Carr, one of our early leaders.
It's a shame for Jared Carr. And what about Rupert? We just talked Rupert up, how great he was doing. And then, I believe, on fresh tires after pitting, sometimes, people aren't prepared for those cold tires. Not saying that's what happened, but unfortunate to see what happened to Rupert. And he also collected Person. I think it was Person involved. It could have been someone else.
Yeah, it's very interesting. We've had quite a few people right now. Kind of a little bit of calamity that lap, if you will. The 26 of Brian Helm, he's retired for the night. The 03 of Dale Neurath is also retired for the night. The 57, I believe, is retired. He's still sitting on pit road. So a lot of drivers that lap, just not able to make it. And right now we're having the 19 of Richie Coy closing in on the back of it. Looks like one of those accent LED drivers. And I think Joe Flanagan's starting to make a little bit of gap, if you will. He's cut it down to about 1.2 seconds.
Yeah, let's get a look in on our last lap times. Flanagan a 1:15.2 to Coy's 1:15.4, so a couple of tenths that lap, and these guys are flying. Allen a 1:14.8. Stouffer much slower than that. I'm not sure when he pitted, but we're looking at 1:16. So these leaders are really pumping the laps out now. And we look back at Lane Allen in third. He's stuck here behind a lap traffic car. He's going to pull over. That's a really nice move there, allowing Lane Allen to come around.
Yeah, Lane Allen's in a good situation. He's got about 4 seconds, but to the guy in fourth, that's going to be Chris Stouffer in that 13. But unfortunately, he's got about 5 seconds to Flanagan and Coy up in front of him. So he's able to kind of sit back. He just needs to mind his own, make sure he takes care of the truck, and don't overextend the truck. But right now, hey, Joe Flanagan's coming. He's gaining on Richie Coy.
Yeah, we ride along with Joe Flanagan out of Tagakay, South Carolina. And he is coming, but Coy, very good out here. These guys are incredibly even matched. About a second lead for Richie Coy here with 14 laps to go.
Now, the biggest thing here is you don't overdrive the truck, because any one of these corners, you can hang the back end out, and you're going to lose a tenth of a second. You're going to lose a half a second. And that's exactly what you don't need to do. Right now, hit your marks, Don't worry about the guy in the mirror. If you do your marks exactly the way you need to and you run this track how it needs to be run, you'll pull away.
Let's get a quick look in on Tony Solari. Had an incident a little bit ago. Let's see exactly what happened to him. You see him here. He's in a log jam of cars. Oh, and a bit of a weird move, and he gets into Ferland, and Ferland is destroyed. Solari with some pretty heavy damage of his own. Wow.
Absolutely. I mean, some massive damage we're seeing here late, but the battle for the lead is shaping up. Flanagan is there. Coy able to make a little bit of headway there. He's going to be able to try to get through this corner here, but right now what I've seen is Flanagan is extremely faster through the first section of this course. He's been able to close up right to the back of that 19, but the tail end of the course is going to be Richie Coy's nemesis right now, and he's going to be able to do good. As you see right now, Flanagan close up right to the back of the 19.
Wow, so much, it was so calm for so long here, Brad, and then all of a sudden, all at once, carnage everywhere. The whole race flips upside down. Coy and Flanagan now putting on a show, and Flanagan is there. This race is turned into something here when it looked like it was going to be a parade to the finish.
Absolutely, and that's what you're going to get. You got guys and they think, oh, the best we're going to get is second place, and all of a sudden they get handed to it on a silver platter. These guys are going to do everything they can. They're going to fight tooth and nail right to the end, I think, to try to get that win. And this is one of those key marquee races where you can hang your head. I don't think Flanagan's won this year. This could punch his ticket in. He can't risk not making it to the end. He's got to push it for everything he's got.
Can't risk it not making it to the end. I don't know. Can he sit here and not try to get the win? I don't think he can risk that. So he's in a position here. I think what his plan at this point is probably to sit right where he is and wait for a mistake. At least we got 12 laps left. Wait it out for, 8 or 9 laps before he tries to make his move. But I don't know. I mean, this is highly intriguing.
We saw a couple weeks ago Joe Flanagan just control a race. We saw it right there. I believe it's New Hampshire where Flanagan was out front, for the majority of the race, wasn't able to secure the victory. Right now, second place. This is arguably his second best chance of locking himself into the playoffs. He's got to take advantage.
So a couple of guys over watching on YouTube. We got John DeRugeris winning over there on the Kickin' Asphalt Next Gen Series in one of the races, doing great this year. Glad to have you here, John. And of course, Pepto Joe Jr. out here rooting on Senior, and he says he really wants this one, Brad.
Oh, I never met a racer that didn't start a race that didn't want a race. So that's no shock to me, if you will. He's definitely got the truck. He's definitely close enough. It's a matter of whether or not he's going to be able to make it happen at the end of the day. I don't want to say we're pulling for him because that's just not what we do up here. But at the same time, it would make it extremely interesting if he was able to punch his ticket here tonight.
It absolutely would. Let's look through a couple other guys here. You got Lane Allen coming through here in 3rd place. Chris Stouffer back in 4th place. Then it's going to be Politsky in the 96. He's up 4 spots on the night. Behind him, Bobby Terrell continuing to move forward, up 5 spots on the evening. Sylvain Joly's up a few. Then it's Troy Torgensen, the quiet, methodical, out here on the road course, is taking what he can get, Brad. He's up 7 spots. Vrooman up 9 spots on the night.
Oh, it's been a tale of 2 races without a doubt. I mean, think about it. Going into pit stops, we had 24 drivers on the lead lap, essentially. I believe one guy was actually a lap down at that particular point. But since the pit stop, we have 13 drivers still in the lead lap. I mean, there was a matter of carnage. There was guys making mistakes, everything like that, getting penalties. And the pit stops is really what's shaking this race all up.
You see there, we kept going through. We're down to 13th and TJ Bartel. Mannix Riche in 14th. You got Randall Ballard in 15th. Quiet evening so far for Randall. He's making progress, and he's going to let someone go there. I think that might be Stouffer coming around, he's already a lap down, is Ballard. John Held in 16th. You got Jason Spear now up into 7th place, or 17th, I'm sorry. And you can see right in front of him is Bobby Terrell, who's currently in 7th. Claude Ferland back here, and boy, oh boy, is that machine a mess. He is in 18th place. And we're going to go back to our leaders, where Richie Coy still leading this thing. Flanagan still chasing. Flanagan sitting here in second, not able to make up any time. Coy has opened up about a 1.5 second lead now.
Yeah, I got to think the longer the Coy's out front from Flanagan, he's going to be able to just slowly pull away, and that's the advantage of having a clear track, clear braking points, and just really being able to see exactly where you need to be able to go.
We look back to Lane Allen. Now Lane Allen about 6.5 seconds off of Flanagan. So that one's pretty much saddled. Let's see if we got some battles on the track. I think Zach McDaniel out here, he is up 11 spots on the evening. Behind him, you got Schultz right there. But I mean, that's about as close as anybody is to each other out here. Brad is very spread out again. So a little bit of attrition here with 9 to go. We look back up to the front where Richie Coy continues to lead.
Coy doing an excellent job, just putting the laps down, doing everything he needs to do. We're seeing him starting to pull away again from Joe Flanagan. Now about a 1.5 second advantage to Richie Coy. But we know with road courses, one mistake on this track, a second can be gone very easily, and you just lose all your momentum. And we are going to be coming up on a little bit of lap traffic, it looks like, out of the front of that 19.
Let's hop on board with Coy and just see what he does around this track here at Watkins Glen.
You see, he's gonna shift down. He's gonna get to the inside. He's not gonna go extremely too late. He will have some lap traffic coming up on him. He's gonna be to the inside. He's gonna probably hit his shift right here in between to not upset the truck. You see right there, it happened. He's gonna float it out to the outside. He's gonna try to carry as much momentum as he can, but he's gonna be coming up on some lap traffic. You're gonna see one guy to the inside, one guy to the outside. This could mess up his entry.
Yeah, this is not a great spot to catch someone. The 11 on the grass, that's Solari. He's got to be careful here. Coy not being too careful. And we'll see Flanagan. I'm not sure if he made up time or not because he had to deal with the same thing. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you hate to see that, but at the same time, you kind of got to give credit to the 11. He did everything he could to get completely out of the way, including run up on the grass to stay out of the way of his leaders. Right now, the leader's going to be coming up on one of his teammates in that AXA LED as he's coming up on another lap traffic.
Yeah, he's got him here. Looks like Ferland going to pull over. Classy move there. It's a lap around Watkins Glen with our leader, Richie Coy. And yeah, we're definitely not saying anybody doing anything wrong. It's a tight track out here. I mean, there's certain wide spots, but the driving line incredibly tight. And it's just hard to get out of the way, Brad.
It really is. Sometimes you can get in trouble just getting out of the way. You're trying to just help a guy not lose a 10th, and all of a sudden, you as the guy getting out of the way, you lose 5 seconds because you got in the wall. And we saw right there, though, Richie Coy able to extend his lead about a 1/10 of a second on Joe Flanagan, pushed it up to about basically 1.6 seconds. They're still right there within each other, and they're still side of each other. But you got to sit there and think, if you're in the 53 cockpit, that 19 is just starting to get a little bit smaller in your view.
He is. Flanagan hanging in there, but the 19 pulling away, doing a better job through the traffic. Look back to Lane Allen in 3rd place. Lane now closing under 6 seconds to Joe Flanagan, or around 6 seconds. So the 14's doing a nice job. Just, I don't think he's got enough time with 7 laps to go here. we continue
No,
to run through here, Brad. We'll look in on Stouffer in fourth. There's Politsky up into fifth now. Let's talk a little bit about Andrew Politsky, the 96. I mean, what a nice run. Up 4 spots. He's in the top 5 here. Been real quiet. I don't think we've called his name too much tonight.
no, absolutely not. He's done a fantastic job, and I think that's part of it. Just not calling his name, quietly, methodically, not getting into trouble. He's made up 4 positions on the night so far, running a solid race, doing exactly what he needs to do. Right behind him, we're going to have that 08 of Sylvain Joly. Sylvain Joly trying to do the same thing, up 4 spots from his position. And you look at the truck, you're starting to look at these guys. Clean truck. Right behind him, Bobby Terrell in the 4 machine. We can only assume that truck's going to be pristine because he does everything he can to take care of it. Up 4 positions behind him, the 98 of Troy Torgensen. Torgensen started 15th, currently in the 8th position. Again, a clean truck. We're starting to see the pattern, if you will. Guys that take care of their equipment, take care of their trucks, they're able to move up throughout the series of race.
They are, and Vroom in here in 9th, up 9 spots. Another pristine car there. I don't know what he's got in the back there. Sting like a bee, a little Muhammad Ali quote on the back there. So he's looking to race like a champion out here, doing a great job. Bernard Persson persevering here through a bit of a tough day. He's in the top 10 still. And then you look in 11th, and it's Zach McDaniel up 11 spots on the night. Schultz up 4, and TJ Bartel, even though with that little problem early on, I think he got caught up in the 3 or the 03, I'm not sure, incident, but he's still up 8 spots on the night.
And then right behind him, and that's actually going to be our leader, that's going to be the 19 of Richie Coy. He's extended his lead about another second over the 53 of Joe Flanagan. Flanagan back about 2.5 seconds. Then a little bit further back, you're going to have Lane Allen about 8.5 seconds behind that. So about 6 seconds to Flanagan. So Lane Allen starting to make a little bit of time on Flanagan. I don't think there's going to be enough time for Lane Allen to really put in any effort to get in the second place here. The big thing right now is Richie Coy going to be able to bring this thing home and to make sure that he makes all of these laps and hit his marks.
Yeah, he's got 4 to go here. Really, all he has to do is stay mistake-free. I mean, he's still got to carry some speed, no doubt, but that's easier said than done. I mean, we brought it up before the carnage ensued. What happened? You were mentioning the 57 had damage on the side of his car. We did not catch it, but something has happened. He had hit a wall or a car, not sure, but he had damage. Then he goes to pit road. Either has a penalty or is fixing that damage, gets back in traffic, then it's night over. So, I mean, it all happens so fast, Brad. Anything could still happen here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, I could only assume frustration is what ultimately caused everything. A little bit of mistake, even if you're dominating the race, and it gets you off your game, and then all of a sudden it compounds it with another mistake, and then you're flustered, and then just everything goes wrong. And that's one thing that these guys can't do. If you're the 19 of Richie Coy, that's something that you can't do right now. We saw just that last lap, the difference between Flanagan and Coy already down 0.4 of a second. Flanagan's been able to make up on Coy. Is that a matter of Coy just kind of backing off to make sure that he's able to bring this thing home? Or is it one of those deals where he's starting to make a little bit of mistakes? He will be coming up on the 40 of TJ Bartel. TJ Bartel most likely will pull over and let him go by. Already Flanagan down 1.8. He's gaining.
Yeah, he's coming a little bit here. And this, I mean, what about tires, Brad? Could this be a tire situation as well? Different driving, different wear.
It possibly can be, but right now, I think it's more a matter of just kind of giving away and just kind of, easing through it. But right now, Richie Coy has to do with the 40 of TJ Bartel. He's on the inside. It's going to be a heavy braking going into this corner.
Yeah, it's going to cost him another little tenth maybe coming on that inside. It looked like he handled it extremely well, though.
Yeah, right now I would assume that the race is Richie Coy's to give, if you will, versus Joe Flanagan's to take right now. But if this continues and we get a couple of mistakes, it could be a totally different ballgame.
It could, and it can always happen at any time. We've seen it too many times in this series. Late race mistakes or late race, anything can happen. You're in lap traffic now. They can spin in front of you. I mean, that's what happened to Carr. Someone spun in front of him, and he caught a piece of it. He tried to avoid it, just couldn't. You see TJ Bartel doing the classy thing, moving over, letting Flanagan go there. As Pepto Joe Jr. would say, great sportsmanship out there.
Yeah, but even with that, Delta on the track, Richie Coy able to gain another 2/10, if you will. So Flanagan had a much easier way around the 40, but still lost 2/10. So I got to sit there and think that Richie Coy is doing exactly that. He's playing a little bit of coy right now. He's just trying to make sure he takes care of his equipment and get to the end of this race and ultimately cash in on another victory.
Yeah, it's all coy right now. 2 to go. He'll be coming down to take our white flag here in the Watkins Glen 150.
You got to feel for the 53 of Flanagan, though. He's been so close this season. We saw it the other night at New Hampshire, led a lot of laps right now, put in a situation where he can almost taste it. He really wants this so bad. It just doesn't seem like, at least right now, if you will, that he's going to be able to get there. As Richie Coy, you're going to be able to come take the white flag right now, but you got to give the spirit and, just give the battle right now to Joe Flanagan, still continuing to hang in there.
Absolutely love it. Love the hard race, and you got to try and get everything you can get. Not over yet, though. Our leader coming up on some heavier traffic. Not sure that could make up 2.5 seconds, but anything could happen. Like we said, it's awkward trying to get out of the way, and if these guys do try to get out of the way, mistakes can happen. So we're going to see here as we go down into the bus stop.
Yeah, I don't think Richie Coy's even going to attempt to try to get by these guys. I think that would be a mistake on his part and put his truck in a lot more danger than it needs to be. He's got about 2.5 seconds to work with. I don't think it's enough for Flanagan to make up the distance. He just needs to sit exactly where he's at, just follow these guys through and make sure he doesn't get in any type of an incident.
Yeah, he's got to be patient. Just let this happen. But Flanagan is closing a little bit here. We come down to the final couple of turns for the 19. Richie Coy out of Haskell, New Jersey, part of Fury Motorsports, looking to take home this victory at Watkins Glen. Richie Coy going to get it done. Winner here tonight. Joe Flanagan going to come across the line in second. Lane Allen now coming around in a comfortable third position. Nice run by the 14 there. Then it's going to be Chris Stouffer out here. He's going to come around easily, grabbing fourth if he can keep this thing on the track. And the top 5 will be rounded out by Andrew Politsky if he can keep it on the track.
Some guys having a great night tonight, able to make up quite a bit of positions, like the 42 McDaniels, able to make up 12 spots. Vrooman in the 00 make up 9. Torgerson, he's going to make up, looks like about 7. So some guys having a great nights, just kind of persevering through it. And that's what you got to do with road course racing. You just got to be patient, and you just got to keep your mental focus and just continue to work your way forward. And at the end of the night, you could come away with a good victory.
Yeah, we just looked in on Vrooman in 9th. He's up 9 spots. And McDaniel in 10th, up 12 spots. So great job by those guys, just methodically making their way and grabbing positions. But the story all, Richie Coy, after Jared Carr gets involved with a lap car there and loses this race. Basically, he kind of lost it on pit road already. Not sure what happened. We'll have to find out later on, but all to the benefit of Coy, who ran a fantastic race.
Yeah, he really did. And you know what? This punches his dick, and this will be his first win of this season. After 8 top 5 finishes, 11 top 10s, he's able to punch his ticket, if you will, into the playoffs. More fitting victory than he had tonight.
Yeah, excellent job. Let's see if we can get our race results here. I'm not sure everything quite final yet. Just wait for a couple of seconds here. And yes, the results are in. Richie Coy, Fury Motorsports, tonight's race winner. Joe Flanagan will be in second, Lane Allen third, Stouffer, Politsky, Joly, Terrell, Torgensen, Vrooman, McDaniel, your top 10. You look a little further back, you got some good ones like TJ Bartel was up 8 spots on the night. Jason Spear very quietly into 16th place. He'll gain 7 spots on the evening. And you see Carr back there, along with Ferland. Ferland was having a quietly good night too. He got involved in something as well. 17th and 18th for those guys. Brian Helm falls to 21st. So a couple of, it's always good nights and bad nights all around. Different guys have different outcomes here.
Yeah, they really do. And, looking at the points battle there, I think out of all of them, right in that area, if you will, Nearad not having a good night, Joly not having a good night, Zach McDaniels might actually be able to make a little bit of an adjustment. He came into this race only 8 points back into the 5th position that Nearad did have, and Sylvan Joly was in 6th. So McDaniel might be able to make up a little bit of ground there. And right there, you talked about it, Carr and Ferland, they were only 4 points different going into this race.
Yeah, we look at that now, and you can see Joly gains a spot. Allen's up 2. Coy's up 2. Nearad falls 4 spots tonight. Wow, big fall for Dale Nearad. Flanagan gains 1. Riche gains 1, and Schultz gains a couple. So a little bit of movement around in there, and this could be highly important as we come down now. Only a few races left here, Brad, to get into the playoffs. That top 16. You got to be any win inside the top 25 and you're in. So then you got to be, it's the order within the top 16. And really, there's only going to be a few spots. So you got like Joly, Coy just punched his ticket. So you got Joly, McDaniel, Nearad, Torgensen, Flanagan, Riche, all these guys, maybe even Schultz in there fighting for those last couple of spots.
Yeah, absolutely. You're starting to see these guys starting to peak at the right time. And some of them actually falter at the wrong time. I mean, Sylvan Joly, not, a decent 6th place finish tonight. McDaniel's not bad. Nearad, unfortunately, not having the race he wants. You're seeing Flanagan really put in those consistent top 5 finishes, trying to get right there at the end of it. Mannix, Riche falling off, Schultz falling off. So it's a matter of comers and goers, and you're starting to see that, especially within this championship. And Flanagan, my hat's off to him. The last couple of weeks, he's been doing exactly what he needs to be doing to really claw his way up those points battles.
Yeah, he is. He's been getting better and better week in and week out. And right now, let's get into race interviews. We'll talk to Flanagan in a minute. But right now, I've caught up to our 3rd place finisher, the 14, Mr. Lane Allen. Congratulations on a great run, Lane.
Thank you.
We talked a little bit earlier on, as you always are, very humble about your car and about your driving. Thought maybe you had a top 5. Here you are with a 3rd. You got to be pretty happy.
Yeah, that's good with me. I thought it was a good run. I couldn't quite hang with those top runners there, but it was good and steady.
Good and steady, and that's great around here. Watching this race, Lane, talk a little bit about, you weren't in a position to do a lot of passing or get past, but you still had lap traffic. Even that difficult here to deal with here at Watkins Glen.
Oh, definitely. It's according to the way you catch them at, of course, but it was very twitchy up through the S's this time for sure.
It looked twitchy. We've seen a lot of lifting, Lane. Was that something you had to do through the S's when you're really trying to get on the gas? Instead of that, you had to lift a little bit here and again?
Oh, yeah. Had a lot of 3/4 and 7/8 throttle up through the S's.
All right. Well, hey, man, this is a great points finish night for you. Perhaps fighting for one of those playoff spots here. You might be locked in, Lane, to the playoffs. But as we look ahead, are you intrigued? Are you ready for the playoff action?
Yeah, I'm ready.
He's ready, Brad. Thoroughly excited. Lane, what a great run, man. You kept that car clean all night. You grabbed third place here. Big congratulations on that, man. Just an excellent race all around. If you want to thank anybody or give any shout outs, now's the time.
Yeah, thank y'all. Great job on the broadcast. And thank FTSR and
All right.
Blackwater. And
Sorry to cut you off there, Lane. Yeah, don't forget Blackwater and Steve Barry, of course. Great sponsorship out here. Brad, that's going to be our third place finisher, Mr. Lane Allen.
Lane Allen did a great job tonight, but you know what? I'm standing by with a gentleman that went one bit further. That's going to be the 53 old Pepto Joe Flanagan. Joe, you started second. We saw early on, the dominance, if you will, of the 57 of Jared Carr, and that faltered. Then it was a race between you and Richie Coy. I mean, what were you thinking when you saw that 57 not come out of pit road and you realized it was a race between you and Coy for the win?
Well, to start off, I was just hoping to finish the race. I'm not an excellent road course racer, so I was just hoping not to wreck. But then, being that I was able to keep up with Richie most of the time, when we came out of the pit so close together and I knew Jared had his troubles, I tried hard to get by him, and I almost made a move going into the bus stop when we got trapped a little bit with a lap car there, but I didn't want to risk wrecking both of us, so I backed off and hoped that I could have another chance, but I never could. He didn't make any mistakes, and I just couldn't catch him.
Well, kind of, we talked about that through the broadcast. Some guys came into this race, sitting there going, hey, I can win this race. And other guys came in with the thought of, I just have to survive this. You were kind of one of those guys, according to you, where you were just saying you thought that you just had to survive this race, but let alone all of a sudden you're in the situation where it's like, I could win it. How much were you willing to take the risk to win the race, especially with the amount of momentum that you've had this last?
Appreciate it, man.
Johnny Coy, got yours on? Richie, is Johnny wanting to come up part of the interview?
I don't know. I think he walked away to go to the bathroom.
All right. Well, you ask him, and we'll see.
Enough, I was hoping for a win. I when I saw my lap times in some practices against some other guys, I thought I was up there. But with Jared in here, Jared's the road course ace, and I knew that wouldn't be something I could do, would beat him. But then when he had his trouble, I was hoping. You're always optimistic, but I just couldn't catch Richie. But if I could have, I'm on the bubble for the playoffs, so I would have taken some chances if I could have, but I just couldn't get close enough to him.
Well, they say that's why we run this race, is because you can't just give the win away to the guy who you think you won. And we saw Jared Carr obviously having those issues early on, and it just kind of compounded for him. But it opened the door for you. Going into next week, we leave Watkins Glen. We're going to head on to the Nashville 150, the Nashville Fairgrounds, if you will. What do you think your chances are going into that race?
I've always loved short tracks. That's going to be a lot of fun. I'm hoping for good things there, and the following week, Worldwide Technology. They're both going to be good tracks for me, and I'm excited to get to them.
Wow, that sounds great. We very rarely do you hear drivers not only talking about the week after the week coming, but the week after that. So definitely shows that you guys are planning ahead and you're trying to do everything you can to make yourself into this playoffs. I'm definitely going to wish you the best, and you're riding a lot of momentum going into these races. So with that being said, congratulations on your second place finish. We wish you the best going into the next couple of races. But I'm going to turn the mic over to you right now. If you have anybody to thank or any shout outs to give, please do so.
Thanks to Brad and Dean for their wonderful job as always. I can't wait to watch the replay. Blackwater Products for sponsoring the series. FTSR for being a wonderful league. It's so much fun racing here. And Pepto Joe's Concertina channel on my truck. Always love watching that.
Oh, we love hearing about it too, Joe. And you're one of the guys that everybody likes to pull for. And again, congratulations on a second place finish. I think right now we're going to turn it over to Dean, and Dean's standing by with our race winner.
Yeah, I got the 19, Mr. Richie Coy, race winner here at Watkins Glen. Congratulations, Richie.
Wow, thanks, Dean. When we started that race, I didn't think we would be sitting here talking about in the winner's circle. Jared really had us covered until he had his pit road speeding penalty. So we were able to just capitalize on his mistake there, and came home with a win. It solidifies us into the playoffs, which is awesome.
Yeah, well, that's part of it, right? And that does solidify you. That's huge. No more struggling for those last couple of spots. You're locked in now. Are you looking forward to it now? Is that a load off for you, Richie? Looking forward to the playoffs?
Yeah, I'm actually heading on vacation starting on Monday, so I was going to miss the next race and fighting for the positions back there. I was going to bring my computer and a spare wheel down to Disney with me so I could run at least in the back and pick up some points, but now I can actually spend some time with the family on vacation.
Well, speaking of family, we've got Johnny Coy in here. I believe the father of Richie Coy, crew chief. And I don't know, first up, Johnny, I might have to ask you, did you approve this? Is he okay to take next week off?
Yeah, I'm going with him.
There you go. All right. Johnny, now we know you're up there in the box in Richie's ear during several races. We watched some of the live streams over there and we hear some of your advice. What were you saying to Richie out there tonight, particularly when he got in the lead?
Only just to hit his marks and be smooth. Hit your marks and be smooth.
Absolutely great advice as always. I mean, here, at Watkins Glen, that's all it's really about. You seen what Flanagan was doing behind there, Johnny, as is really all he could do was sit there and wait for that mistake. So, is there anything like, I mean, Richie excessively well. What do you try and get him away from, or what do you try and push him towards besides just hitting his marks mentally? When you're out in the lead like that, is there anything that you've learned over the years that you use to try and encourage him?
Well, I try to tell him where Joe was faster and where he was faster so that he can adjust. And he does.
Well, that's just great. I mean, I'm sure you guys got a fantastic report. It's been a thrill talking to you, Johnny. We're really glad to see you here and out here with your son every night. But getting back to you, Richie, what a big win out here. Kind of uneventful for you. Talk a little bit about driving this car around this track and really, I guess the S's being one of the really trickiest spots out here.
Yeah, for some reason, the trucks are really twitchy going up through the S's there, and I guess because the steering ratios are so low because of the road course. But when you start to get a little loose, if you overcorrect, it just whips it back the other way. So you got to really baby it through the S's, and that and actually going into the bus stop, same thing. You just can't overcorrect, you can't overturn the car, and you just got to be patient. And that's really kind of what I did. Like my dad said, I was just trying to hit my marks. We were watching. I had him watching Joe, and he came across, told me that Joe was getting into bus stop better than I was. So I picked up another sign instead of at 600. I went down to 500, and that helped, I think, solidify the win at the end there.
Well, there you go, Johnny, helping yet again, and you guys make a great team. We love watching you. Go check them out there, Coy E Motorsports, I believe. Is that correct, Richie?
I believe it's Coy E Racing on Facebook and Coy Esports on Twitch.
All right. Well, everybody go check them out. Always great to listen to those communications between the two of them and watching the great Richie Coy out there on the track. Congratulations again on this victory. What a great time to get one with the playoffs approaching. Takes that load off. So big congrats. And anybody you want to thank, any shout outs you want to give, now's the time, Richie.
Oh, I appreciate it, Dean. Again, as always, you guys do a great job up in the booth, and we always like to watch the replay afterwards. See everything that we don't usually get to see as we're racing. And, I got to thank my teammates, Brody and Tony, Chris. Joe actually did a fantastic job getting home second tonight. And Jared, I think we had like 4 to the top 5 qualifying setup positions. So we had a really great race. I got to thank my teammates for giving us good sets and good advice as we go through the race and all that kind of stuff. But that's about it. Thanks, guys.
All right, Brad, that's Richie Coy, tonight's race winner. And as always, thanking teammates, man. Teammates always play a big role in this stuff.
Oh, absolutely. And we see that week in and week out. We've seen the likes of teams really take to the front. We saw right there Richie Coy, Joe Flanagan. He thanked Jared Carr. Obviously the team we've seen one where Exa LED has come to the front. We've seen Fury Motorsports. We see Spear Motorsports when we go to the plate tracks, and it really is. It's a team thing. And one thing that I wish I could have said, try to try to get his dad there a little bit of a more of a shout out, see where other competitors could contact him, because I think somebody might take him up on his services there, be able to make it a little bit lucrative, because it sounds like he was very informative when it comes to his racing tonight.
Absolutely, and we loved having him here. It's great to have a spotter or a crew chief, especially a father, up here and listen to some of their insights. Man, just so impressive to watch Richie and them work together, and for him to get this victory, just so huge. And we look forward now every Wednesday night. Of course, we're gonna have this series right here on Full Throttle TV, 9 p.m. Make sure you come out. Only a couple of races left. I think 3 more before the playoffs begin. So some of these guys, we're going to start highlighting these guys on the bubble, and they're going to be fighting tooth and nail to get in this thing, because it's a big deal over here, and we've got action all week long. So come to this channel and check out all the broadcasts. But for myself, Dean Doucette, for Brad Patterson, that's going to wrap it up from Watkins Glen, and we'll see you right here next time on Full Throttle TV.